Hey guys, welcome to the Fox Den. Today we are so excited to talk about the ESO Global Reveal. We just watched the official premiere and we are so excited to dive on in and talk about all the new things coming this year. So just as a heads up, we did get a little sneak peek behind the scenes prior to the global reveal with a little bit of an overview of what was going to be in the premiere today. We also got access to a little Q&A session with creative director Lambert, which was really awesome. So first we're going to dive into all the new content coming this year, and then we're going to talk about the QA session that we sat through where Rich answered a lot of those long-standing questions people have had about the game for quite a while now. So we're going to get some official answers on record for you guys. So the first thing we want to do is talk about the new chapter overview. So it has been revealed to us that the name of this chapter is The Elder Scrolls Online Gold Road. So this is going to be taking place in a new zone called Westweald. It's going to be situated in a section of space between Cyrodiil, Gold Coast, Reaper's March, and Cragworn. The main hub city is going to be Skingrad. As you guys, many of you guys had guessed correctly from all the clues that were revealed a little earlier prior to the reveal. This area is going to be very familiar to those who've previously played Elder Scrolls Oblivion. So again, I know a lot of you guys saw things you had already seen in Oblivion. So the full chapter is everything you'd expect. So we are going to see the prologue and zone story, a hub city, 11 objectives, 6 delves, 6 world bosses, 2 public dungeons, a trial, new world events, world group and event dailies, independent content quests, housing, antiquities, other little miscellaneous quests in between. So it's going to have 30 plus hours of content. In addition to all of this, there is going to be a brand new system coming as well, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But first, let's talk a little bit about the zone and story. So Westweald is going to be split into 3 major biomes. The Gold Road, which is going to be a deciduous forest, windswept, fall colors, very, very autumnal. So I'm super excited for this. It's going to bring us back to those really pretty places like Somerset and High Isle, and hopefully take us away from the strange Daedric plains that we've had a little bit recently. There's also going to be the Valenwood annexation, which is going to be a jungle rainforest type biome, as well as the Colovian Highlands, which are very rocky, hilly, dry, but full of fall colors. So again, as we saw in the clues with all those autumn leaves, we're going to have a lot of those fall colors in these zones, the bright reds and golds. I'm so excited for that. So we're not going to dive too much into the story itself. We don't really want to spoil it for anybody, but what I am going to say first is if you have not completed Necrom, do it. The end of the Necrom quest is going to set the stage for all of this that is coming. It will make more sense if you completed the Necrom storyline. So make sure you guys do that prior to the new content if you want that smooth transition. Because this next chapter hinges so much on the Necrom chapter, we know some of you guys probably don't have Necrom yet, so if you do not have Necrom, please feel free to enter in on the giveaway. The link is below. We're giving away a few copies of Necrom Deluxe Collection. What we will say about this story is that we are going to be diving in to a brand new Daedric prince, Athelia, also known as the Daedric Prince of Paths, the mistress of the untraveled road, the unseen, the fate changer, however you'd like to address her. She is going to be the center of attention here. So again, definitely get to that Necrom storyline because it will be important. So I know you guys are dying to hear about this brand new system. The first thing that I'm going to say, it is not spellcrafting. It is scribing. To tie this into the lore, this is fictionally a precursor to what could become spellcrafting 1,000 years in the future. You guys have to remember Oblivion, where we see spellcrafting. is 1,000 years after the setting of the Elder Scrolls Online. Spellcrafting doesn't exist here, but this system is what's going to set us up to have spellcrafting in Oblivion. So we know that Oblivion had a lot of balance issues with spellcrafting. I know that's been a concern. A lot of people have been asking for it, but the realists out there know that spellcrafting overall can really break this game. So Rich made a big point to say that they had to worry about balance issues with this, right? They didn't want to repeat issues that they saw in Oblivion. So instead of spellcrafting, they took a little bit of a different path here and focused heavily on this idea of customization. They want you to play the way you want to play, and this is going to give you that. So there's really two big components to scribing. So scribing itself, you are basically playing with the nature of magic within scribing. It's an all-new game system unique to Gold Road, so you will need the Gold Road chapter to access it. But basically, you are going to collect and customize skills to tailor your builds, giving you the power and freedom to play the way you want to play. With scribing, players can collect and customize unique skills, letting players really tailor their character's playstyle by editing their primary, secondary, and tertiary effects on a skill. The focus at launch is going to be on weapon and world lines, so Mages Guild, Fighters Guild, Soul Magics, Assault, Support. The reason they're really targeting, weapons and world lines is so that everyone can participate in the system and it doesn't get locked to a class, which I think is really awesome. With scribing, each one of these lines will have at least one unique unlockable skill that you can configure and play with. Within this, there are three major resources or components to scribing. Your first is your grimoire, which is a skill or core ability that never changes. For example, Vault in the bow line. The second component is scripts. Each grimoire has 3 sockets or script slots on it. These slots give you the freedom to change the various characteristics of the ability: heal, damage type, buffs, etc. The third component is going to be inks. It's a consumable reagent to change or scribe an ability. So consumable reagent, think alchemy components, for example, or runes. So you're going to be able to use these consumable components to continue to change how this skill exists. You can change those kind of traits on it, or those characteristics. One of the things Rich did say, was a question that came up, was people were afraid of a grind. Nobody loves a grind. We all know about them. We don't want antiquities or Sigic skill line here, right? What Rich said to that was that they obviously want you to do stuff to get these, but they don't want to make it daunting. They don't want to make it a grind, right? It's going to be easier than acquiring housing materials, and they definitely want it to be cheaper. Rich mentioned you go out and you pay thousands and thousands of gold for housing materials. They don't want that to be this, which alludes to the fact that you can probably be selling these on Guild Traders, so that's good to know. But it's supposed to be a system where you will always have enough to do what you want, which we think is great. That's the first component. The second part, which Ninetail Fox is very excited for, our 4-time reigning fashionista champion, styling. As part of this system, players will also have the ability to change the look and the visual effects. If you've always wanted a purple wall of elements, you have your opportunity to have a purple wall of elements now. At launch, there's going to be 22 different styles. They are going to be focused on colors to start. Rich did say that in the future they are going to have even more opportunities for styles, including things like turning your fireballs into skulls instead. The best part of all of this, it is going to be unlocked and earned in game. There's no crown store purchases here, guys. This is going to be unlocked and earned in game. We are so pumped. We think this is a huge deal. ESOs are making some great strides, beefing up the ability to earn stuff in game and unlock through achievements. This is another way to do that. We're really excited. With scribing, there will also be a multi-quest story arc, which is going to be following Ulfsild and her research into the precursors of magic. For my friends that really enjoy the questing aspect, there will be a quest tied to this system as well. One other thing I will mention is that based on the style parlor portion of this, Rich did say this will open the door for combat pet skins in the future as well. That's the new big system. We're super excited for it. It is scribing. It is not spellcrafting. It is scribing. It is really, really awesome, and it's going to bring so much variability to the game and just allow you to customize on such a deeper level. Looking at 2024 as a whole and looking at a roadmap here, what we're seeing from ESO is they're putting out a similar cadence to what they had last year. We know last year they got away from doing 2 dungeon DLCs. We're going to see that again this year with a big focus on quality of life. In Q1, we're going to be getting our 2 new dungeons, Oath Sword Pit and Bedlam Vale. We're going to get our prologue quest and some miscellaneous quality of life improvements. Q1, this update will be update 41. What Rich did mention is that update 41 is the targeted release for the last of the hybridization changes, which is food and potions. That's the last little bit they need to finish up on to bring that hybridization to a close. Those quality of life changes are potentially going to include that hybridization aspect. We will have an update 41 preview stream on January 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be over on the Twitch Bethesda channel. We're going to be doing a little bit more of a deep dive into exactly what update 41 is going to look like for us. Q2, as always, is your big chapter launch. So this is where we're going to get the Gold Road chapter. We're going to get Scribing, our new trial, which is going to be Lucid Citadel, and we're really going to get the meat and potatoes of the year here. We're also going to get some miscellaneous performance improvements. We know they've been making some big strides in this over the last year or so, last 2 years probably at this point, maybe more, and we're going to hopefully get some real awesome content here paired with some really awesome performance improvements. So we're super, super excited. Normally with the chapter launch, we are seeing 2 new companions come along as well. So there are going to be companions, but those are going to be coming later in the year. Q3, much like last year, is going to be quality of life focused. They were very hush-hush on what's coming Q3, Q4, but they did tell us, again, there's going to be a quality of life focus and a housing feature. While the audience was very persistent trying to get some sort of hints, we got none. Rich was not entertaining our shenanigans, but he did say that this is a feature he himself has been waiting a long time for. I'm hoping for way shrines in my house. Either way, housing feature, quality of life focus for Q3. We're going to have to wait on those details though. And finally, Q4, again, while they were very tight-lipped on what it was, PvPers rejoice! We are getting a PvP feature! It is going to be PvP's time in the sun. Q4 is going to be an epic drop for you guys. Again, we did not get many details other than the fact that it will not be Cyrodiil related. As I mentioned before as well, they did push out the 2 new companions, so Q4 will be the home to 2 new companions coming to the new chapter as well. Just to highlight some of those key dates, update 41, we have a preview stream on January 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to have that ESO live. We're probably going to deep dive into those dungeons and all that good stuff. PTS is going to hit on January 29th. And then we are going to be going live with this on PC March 11th and console March 26th. Update 42 and our Gold Road chapter. That we have a scheduled PC launch of June 3rd and console launch on June 18th. So really, really pumped. Again, we got a lot of that first half information, and then as we go along, we'll definitely get more of that information for the second half of the year. So the last thing I wanted to talk about here is outside of the new chapter for the most part. And part of that Q&A session we got to participate in with Rich. And these were, again, more of those big, groundbreaking questions people have been asking. We got some really great answers, and hopefully we can pass those along to you guys so you stop wondering if they're listening or, you know, what the plans are in the future for those. When asked about combat overhauls and big changes, Rich mentioned that the last major change is to complete that hybridization, tackle the potions and food, which again, we said is expected for update 41. But after that, again, there's no immediate major combat changes they're looking to make. We're hopefully over that large hill of having tackled those earlier. Hopefully no more upsetting the apple cart on combat for quite a while. Another question they get asked often is story mode for dungeons. It's been a popular ask. According to Rich, a story mode would be like adding another difficulty level to each dungeon. So right now you have normal, vet, hard mode. This would be an entirely new difficulty level. So while it's not totally out of the question, it's definitely low on the list of priorities overall for them. Hand in hand with that, people are asking about overland difficulty adjustments. If you've played ESO for a while, if you remember back in the days before One Tamriel, we all got slapped into next week by a level 40-something wolf after accidentally wandering into the rift. I wouldn't know from experience or anything like that, but those are the days of difficult overland content, and it wasn't a pleasant experience for everyone. Many players have been asking for more brutal overland, but the challenge they face with overland difficulty changes in that they need to accommodate the lowest common denominator. And having welcoming content for the lowest common denominator is important for them. They don't want to send new and less experienced players running for the hills by slaughtering them with a wolf like back in the day. Needless to say, all in all, I wouldn't expect changes to be coming to an overland difficulty anytime soon. It's just not the right move for the game at this time to increase the difficulty level and kind of alienate those lower level, newer players that would just end up getting frustrated and walking away. On their list, they said, is guild support. As a GM, I have been dying for guild support. Rich did say they hear us loud and clear and that they are going to look to add more tools for GMs. You know, we've been asking for things like being able to send messages to the members, a guild hall that's linked to the guild and not necessarily a person, so that people can put stuff down after players leave. There's a lot of things on that request list. As far as that goes, we are on that list to be taken care of, and they're just, you know, looking to find the right time to propose it. But we're gonna get them soon, one day. Crossplay. Rich said this is always in the top 3 questions he is asked anytime he does an interview. The always present question. Once upon a time, back when the game started its development journey, a lot of choices were made in the game that will make this a very difficult feat. As Rich said, there are many established communities, economies. It is going to be a very difficult thing to do if they ever do it. The message from him was, we hear you, but don't expect this to be a move made anytime soon. There are more challenges than we could ever be aware of as players. They hear us. They have had these conversations. They are still having these conversations. It's still a thing they're looking at, but it is not an easy ask. It's not totally out of the question. It wasn't a no, but it is not going to be anytime soon, friends. Item sets was another one that was addressed. There was a question asked about the growing number of item sets. Rich reality checked me because he said there are somewhere around 600 sets in game. I did not realize it was that many. Somebody asked if they're gonna keep adding to that scrolling list of sets. He said that is something they are actively evaluating. Coming up with fun new sets starts getting difficult after a while. So Brian Wheeler has definitely started that conversation with the team to see what the right move will be in the future. Do they keep rolling out sets? Do they change old ones? Do they eliminate sets? There's a lot of options on the table, but they are actively evaluating what the right move is for the future of the game. Bag space, inventory space. Inventory management is always the true endgame. Obviously, people want more bag slots. That is easier asked than done. Server performance is always the #1 priority. Adding more inventory space just puts a bigger burden on the servers. We've said this a number of times. That was our speculation. We were spot on. It is going to put such a tax on the servers that it is going to lessen the server performance, and that's not what we want. So the dev team has looked at other ways to help with that inventory management issue. We've seen them already bring in the sticker book and allow people to decon all that gear they were saving just in case it got good again. We have new stacking, so there was some stacking brought to things like potions and stuff that was the same, but something was different enough that they wouldn't stack, so they improved some stacking recently. Instead of just adding additional inventory slots, they are continuing to look at options that will alleviate the inventory burden in more creative ways to not tax the server. Our pockets look forward to some more inventory quality of life improvements in the future. Some other items they briefly mentioned was to continue support on Infinite Archive and Tales of Tribute in terms of new rewards and content. So those systems are still a high priority for them. They will continue to put out new things. We know Infinite Archive, at the very least, there are 14 remaining gear sets still planned. We only got the first 7. If you guys really enjoy those systems, they will continue to put out new content, new rewards, and keep those fresh. Accessibility was asked about as well. We know compared to a lot of the newer games out there, ESO doesn't quite match up in terms of the accessibility options available. That is on the forefront for them. That is a big focus for them from the technology aspect and helping our friends that are differently able to be able to enjoy the games and make it a better experience for them, as well as new player accessibility in general. The game is massive. The game is huge. I've played this game for 10 years now. I get lost half the time. It's a very daunting game, especially for a new player to pick up. A big part of what they want to do is find ways to make the game easier to acclimate into and to really welcome in those newer players. So accessibility is definitely at the forefront for them, and they are really charging ahead with that. No details or time frames on what they're doing, but they did say it is very much in the picture. One last note I want to talk about. So for the most part, that's what we got out of the Q&A session. But one more thing I want to talk about. And this is just probably my wild speculation and starting rumors I shouldn't be starting, but we'll do it anyway. Rich mentioned that there is a 15-month journey of ESO 10th anniversary events. We didn't get any additional details on the 10th anniversary events, but he mentioned 15-month journey. Now, we know that it was going to be a year's worth of events and content because we had PC debuting in April and we had console debut in June of the following year. That's 14 months. My big, profound, probably wrong guess is that 15 months brings us to July. So I know we have a summer 2025 North America event. I'm going to say it's going to be in July. I know that's not even remotely helpful because it's just a month and we don't have a location, but that is my big, giant, groundbreaking speculation, and that's what I'm going to say. But anyway, we had a fantastic time getting to participate in this little pre-brief event. Thank you guys over at Bethesda, our ZeniMax team, for allowing us to take part in this and to kind of get a little insight into what was going to be revealed today. We just genuinely appreciate all the work that they've put into this game over the last 10 years. This game's been a huge part of our lives, and we wouldn't have the family and friends we do without them. Thank you to the Bethesda, ZeniMax, and Elder Scrolls teams for pouring their heart and souls into something that's meant so much to us over the years. For my friends that have more questions or want to talk, we're here. You can join our Discord. We go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Twitch, as well as here on YouTube. So feel free to pop into any streams. We love to talk about this stuff. We're all down for speculation and for talking through the things that we got to learn. Feel free to pop on over and chat with us. Other than that, we hope you're as excited for 2024 as we are. This game is going to put out another epic's year worth of content, and we are so excited to be along for the ride. We will see you on the Gold Road.